Well, look who made it back. Welcome, friends. If you're new here, welcome aboard. We're glad to see you, and we'll hope you keep coming back. My name's Rick, and with my wife Lori, we're building a 31.5 foot diesel trawler in our backyard. As you can tell, I'm in winter clothes. This is June 11th, and it's only about 8 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is. 40s, high 40s Fahrenheit. It's cold, so that makes doing epoxy work a little hard. But anyways, this week I continued to work on the bow sprit. The way it was, it seemed disproportionately thick at 2 full inches. So my plan was to reduce that down to 1.5 inches maximum. I tried to do it on my old planer, and it just wasn't up to the task. It would have taken forever and probably burned up the planer. So long story short, I ended up buying a new planer, and while I was sitting on the john, I had an idea pop into my head, and that was to grid score the backside of the bowsprit and work my way down. And it actually worked a charm. So if you follow along, you'll see that that's what this video is about, going through that process. So grab a Coors Light and a bag of pork rinds, sit back and enjoy the show. Let's go desecrate some white oak.
So we're off and running, folks. This is going to get noisy, and it's going to get really monotonous, and I had to live through it. You just got to watch me do it. So I'm going to speed it up, and I've also included chapters on this video so that you can skip ahead once you get the idea of what's going on. I did a few test pieces using my cordless circular saws, and they just aren't up to the task. And the most capable saw I have, obviously, is my table saw, so that's what I decided to use. So now that you get the idea of what's going on, I'm going to speed this up and we'll whisk through it. I edited most of it. It's just left a few in, so you can get the idea of how monotonous and repetitive a lot of these boat building tasks are. I had to reconfigure the fence on the table saw a few times just to be able to accommodate the length of this board. And here I'm trying to extend the outfeed, and that didn't work. I'll have to fix that and try it again. A few other different ways, but eventually I worked it out. This is the result of the first set of passes across the plank. In total, I think there was about 80 cuts. So now we're going to cut it into a grid, and we're going longitudinally this way. And the first pass is usually very thin, about 1/4 of an inch. So that's when You see me later break off the little cubes so you don't tear out the side of the workpiece. After each cut, I have to reset the saw exactly a half an inch wider than the previous cut. Oops, got a little close to the camera that time. If I remember correctly, I had to make 22 cuts lengthwise. The little cubits, as I call them, pop off pretty easy. It's actually kind of fun to do. First phase of the project complete. I don't know how many little cubits I made, but there was an awful pile of them. We're actually going to try them in our smoker and see if they work. Here's the new planer I was talking about. If you look closely, you can see the old one on the floor inside the door to the boat shed. This first pass was just to take the little nubbies off, and it actually only took me 2 more passes, and then I was down to my final thickness and a very nice finish. actually managed to get my little dust extractor set up working on this planer. I couldn't get it to work on the other one very well, and it's just a little more sawdust, a little less sawdust actually. I have to clean up. The planer actually leaves a pretty nice finish. All it would need would be a little bit of sanding, and you could stain it, paint it, do whatever you want with it. I think now that it's down to 1.5 inches thick, the proportions are a lot better, and it's going to look a lot nicer on the front of the boat.
So that's just about it for this week, folks. I'll be moving on to the forecastle so that we'll have a place to mount this bowsprit. There's going to be an awful lot of work to do to make it strong, to make it work properly, and that will have to wait for the next video, maybe the next two. Anyways, a hearty thank you to all our new subscribers. We're at 761 today. You folks are legends. So be good. If you can't, be very, very bad. Cheers.